what I do can help. And I've seen it help a lot of people.
Well, I admire you, but I think you're a salesman capitalising on people's fears. Let's bust the next question.
Oh my God! Do you want to sit here? Jesus.
Nah.
Some of the world's greatest mysteries include the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Were they real? What really goes on in the Bermuda Triangle? But more importantly, what are the KFC 11 herbs and spices? I have tried everything in my power to get KFC to tell me what the 11 herbs and spices are, but with no avail. So, KFC have changed the game and they've sent me to meet some people with their very own mysteries and try to get them talking. From crop circles to secret societies and many other mysteries, I've been sent to try and find out if these people can find a common ground which leads to the truth.
So I'm King Rems, I'm from North London and I'm a practicality prepper. So I prep for the eventuality of the world not functioning the way that it does. So things like being aware of what plants you can and can't eat and what their uses are. So yeah, I prep for that makes sense.
My name is Andrew Thomas Price, I'm from Wales, and I'm primarily a wilderness survival expert. So my prepping strategy is to learn how to fish, how to hunt and trap, how to build shelters, how to purify water, and basically how to stay undercover in the wild until everything goes back to normal.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Will Richards and we're here today once again with KFC to delve into some mysteries. But before we dive into your mysteries and your theories, what we're going to do is get to know each other a little bit better with some KFC questions. First question is, bones or boneless?
Well I'm vegan, so it's definitely going to be boneless.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll go for the boneless as well.
Yeah?
Yeah, less to throw away.
Okay, Remy, next question is, bucket or burger? Again,
KFC do a mean vegan burger.
I've tried it and it's amazing.
It bangs, so we're definitely going burger on that.
Okay, yourself?
I've got to go for a bucket.
Yeah. Gravy or beans?
Can we go both?
Of course you can.
Aye, both then, let's have it.
Both, and yourself?
Gravy.
I love it. Gravy
love
every
gravy.
time. I drink it. Most importantly, we're going to head into your theories now, which are both based around some form of life skill, right?
In essence, yeah, it's more practicality prepping, so looking at how you position yourself to deal with any eventuality of where the world may go.
Okay, and yours is not dissimilar, is that right?
Not dissimilar, but there will be some differences.
Cool, let's get into it. First question is, do you have a theory about how the Earth will end?
The Earth is going to be around for a long time. Whether humans will still be on it is another question. So,
right, yeah.
I'm not a kind of, end of the world prepper. I'm preparing for things to go bad, but then to re-emerge and sort of resume normal life at the end of it. So.
Okay. And
so if there's a re-emergence, what does the re-emergence look like if life has just gone to because it can't go back to normal if there's no normality?
Well, I mean, history's been through cycles. You look at the Roman Empire taking over a third of the planet and then it collapses into itself and then another culture emerges. It's happened right throughout history and I don't see why our culture should be any different. So there will be ups and downs, there'll be upheaval and disasters and all sorts of things. But eventually, the resilient people with skills that know what they're doing, will re-emerge and normality can resume.
If you look at it historically, we've lived off the land, we've understood how the Earth works.
Yeah.
We're at a point now where we've never been more dependent. We're reliant on our phones, we're reliant on microwaves, we're reliant on ovens, we're reliant on cars.
Okay.
Those types of things, if they don't function, how do we?
What evidence supports your theory and your opinion?
Mine is practical. It's being prepared, like you need to eat, right? You need to ward off infections, right? You need to take in fresh air, right? You need to drink fresh water. What evidence do you need? That's what the body needs to function.
Okay, yeah, but are we that heavily dependent on technology?
How would you make a cup of coffee without your kettle?
Boil some water and put it in a pot.
How would you boil the water without using your stove?
Make a fire.
How are you going to make a fire?
2 sticks.
Can you make a fire?
Do it right now.
Right now, let's go.
No, I can't
But
do
you see
that.
what I mean? Like
No,
you have like the dexterity to understand the process.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. Like most kids these days don't even know what flipping watermelon is. Something
And
like
that is
grow
one of the massive
vegetables.
downfalls we've got, because they are brilliant.
I will agree with you on the subject of the fact that we've become so disconnected from nature. Our ancestors, not that many generations ago, lived close to the land. They knew how to get resources from the land and how to use those resources. Whereas we are just so, as a society, so dependent now on being able to flick a switch and get light and heat and everything we're used to.
Do you think everyone should prepare in the way that you've prepared?
From a societal point of view, the more people who are prepared, the better it'll be for everybody.
Okay.
So during the early stages of the whole lockdown, one of the things that became apparent was there was a lot of finger pointing and people saying, these preppers buying all the toilet roll, they're the problem. And it wasn't the preppers at all.
Yeah.
Because if you're a prepper and if you've been thinking about this sort of thing happening, you've already got everything you need.
Obviously you are vegan, so you live off of
Plant-based
plant-based diet.
It makes me more versatile. Like, I'm going to survive longer than people who aren't vegan, because if you think about it, you catch a fish, you have to eat it that day. And additionally, you have to cook that meat. So if you haven't got the means or the know-how to light a fire or make a fire, you're not going to be able to eat raw meat.
I disagree.
I can
You
feel
would
it.
disagree, but at the same time...
I agree that plant-based diet is healthier, better for the environment. I'm totally with you on that. However, all those people that haven't prepared, they haven't got food, are going to see your allotment as a food source.
You're going to want your stuff.
What are you going to do then?
It's about building civilization. If you're surrounding yourself with the right people from early, it's about being around like-minded people. If there ever comes to that point, what we've learned from doing things the wrong way is that segregation it's not going to get us anywhere. So if I decide, right, you can't come and sit at my table because you're not ready and you can't eat my allotment, we're making the same mistakes historically that we've made before. You take it back before pre-industrial age, when we lived off a barter system. Okay, cool, you want this cabbage, I'm going to need for you to then mow this piece of land for me. Or
compromise.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of jumping from, a normal period now to this perfect utopia where everybody's living in community and helping each other. In between these two times, we're looking at
a lot of people are going to die, aren't we?
Well, that's the part that we try to brush over, because I think we're on the same page. What would make an ideal world is everybody living in community in harmony.
The dream.
Close to the land and all these great
things. I think
things.
it's a very Western world thing, though. Like it's a very European thing, actually, to not live like that. A lot of Caribbean communities, we already live in harmony. Like, go into Jamaica, like, you'll see like farmers who'll be like, all right, here what? So I have these 3 goats, and you have that 1 cow. You want to swap something?
Yeah.
Like, so there's the element of bartering. So I think the European way of looking at things is very selfish. It's very now. It's a very microwave sense of entitlement.
Let's go on to the next question. Do you have an escape plan in case of emergency in the UK, and where would you go? He's
Jamaica.
itching. He's itching.
Oh, come on.
Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Yeah, for me, I don't see my long-term settlement in England. I don't think there's the infrastructure for it. I don't think there's the mentality for it.
But if right this second,
Yeah.
air raid sirens went off,
Yeah.
we're done for unless you get out. How are you going to get to Jamaica?
I think for me, I'd go home, like borderline Hertfordshire, get home, make sure my mum's safe, get what we have got, and just try and protect.
So your mum's in Hertfordshire?
Yeah.
You're in central London right now. Goes Pete Tong. How are you getting back to Hertfordshire?
Who's Pete Tong?
It goes wrong.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that's wrong.
I got it.
Who's he in all of this? Like, when did
You weren't even born then.
he come in? Like, where?
He's a bleeding Reddit DJ as well.
Did he do the bombings?
No, so it goes wrong from
Yeah,
this
yeah.
point. How do you get back to Hertfordshire?
Oh, I can
No
walk home
trains,
from here.
planes. Really?
Yeah.
All around London, you've got power lines, these big power lines. Now, they have to keep those areas clear for maintenance. So you can follow power line routes. I've told everybody now, so they're all going to do it.
Wow.
This is mind blowing. I've never even thought of that, because of course they have to go from town to town to city to
Exactly.
city.
So you can follow those, and then you've also got things like old canal paths, and you've got old disused railway lines, and
There's a lot in London.
Yeah, if you know where these places are, you can stay right off the beaten track.
How often do you do drills?
I do this professionally, so I teach wilderness survival skills as a living.
Oh, right.
So yeah, every day.
Every day.
I live this lifestyle. In terms of applying it to prepping, sort of disaster prepping, it's something that's always on my mind. So I build skills. I think skills are the most important thing. So I don't have a huge garage full of tin supplies. I've got enough for a few days and maybe a couple of weeks. But I'm working on the principle that if I've got skills, I can use those skills to keep myself and my family alive.
You've made an enterprise essentially out of people's fears of the end of the world.
Not at all, no. I teach bushcraft and survival skills. So
What is bushcraft?
bushcraft is recreational survival skills. So you're learning the skills of survival, but for enjoyment. So learning how to sit by a fire or light a fire, then enjoy being by the fire.
Okay, so how to safely but productively
Yes.
light a
So
fire.
you made an enterprise out of people's fears?
Not at all, not out of fears at all. I think it's almost a lifestyle choice that people enjoy the freedom of not having to use electricity and not being connected to technology.
It's the monopolization of people fearing the end of the world, and you make a living now off of people's fears.
I don't see it that way. I think I help people to learn skills that will help themselves. I don't see it as capitalizing on fear at all.
So what is it then?
I've made a lifestyle for myself around my own personal interests. So
You
this is
sell it as a
something-
product for people that fear the end of the
You
world
could
coming.
view it as a product or as a service, perhaps.
We don't know if the end of the world is going to come. We're logical enough to believe that it is, but you're selling a product for something that may never be.
Most people that come to me are doing it because they enjoy the experience of foraging for wild foods. People sleeping outside in a shelter they've built themselves for the first time with all the bugs That's a huge step for a lot of people. So I'm helping people in that respect.
It's like a rough butlins then.
Very rough buttons.
I'm just trying to understand the price that you've put on people's fears.
I do a lot for charities as well.
So what kind
I've
of
got a few
charities?
myself. Mental health charities are the main one.
Okay.
Because a lot of the problems we have in society now with mental health problems, my personal feeling is a lot of it comes down to social media, reliance on technology, the fact that we're all connected to all these negative impulses. So what I do is take people that are suffering from depression, social anxiety, and I put them through
Living
hell.
in the middle of nowhere, like fix yourself.
Yeah, because if people are given real challenges, you know, like that fire, or you're going to get
So mental
cold.
health is not a real challenge?
Mental health is a real challenge, but it's a very different challenge. It's a very internal challenge.
Okay.
But if I give people external issues to deal with, like that fire...
So you believe that mental health is as simple as providing somebody with external stimuli?
It's far from simple, but what I do can help. And I've seen it help a lot of people.
Well, I admire you, but I think you're a salesman capitalising on people's fears. Let's bust the next question.
Oh my God! Do you want to sit here? Jeez.
Nah.
Right, okay. No, I understand what you're coming from, but you know that means everyone's capitalising on something. You're here today.
I'm capitalising on free KFC, innit? I just wanted the vegan burger, that's it.
So, question for you, Remy, first of all. What are some of the world's events that you are prepping for?
So for me, it's a change in life as we know it. Like as I mentioned earlier, the over-reliance on science and technology, pushing the earth too far. So just practicalities, thinking about things from a medicine point of view, from a technology point of view in terms of how I'd keep in contact, an infrastructure point of view, how I'm going to keep warm, how I'm going to keep fed, and also how I'm going to think about the next steps of what my life would look like in that normality of what it's become.
Do you believe that you're going to live long enough to see this unfold?
I'm not entirely sure because things have happened in my lifetime that I've really thought, oh my God, this is the end. So in a word, no, I don't believe I'm going to live long enough.
So why are you prepping for it?
Because at the end of the day, it's better to be prepared than know, right?
Well, not if you don't think you'll live long enough.
Let me ask you this question. If you're going to a girl's house, you're not sure if you're going to score or not, you do take a condom with you, right, in hope?
Do you?
Been in a relationship for 8 years.
He's not cheating on you. And I have siblings as well, so it's the example I set. So if they outlive me and then they live in those circumstances, they know exactly what to do because they're a mirror image of me.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. So you're passing on the knowledge.
Of course.
What are some of the world events that you are prepping for?
So human beings, all of us, have the same basic requirements. Now, you can bring it down to the rule of 3. So you can live for 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, as a basic rule of thumb. From my perspective, I think the most crucial thing that we have to worry about at the moment is loss of power, so grid down situation. So something that's always interested me, a Carrington event, solar flare, which would be essentially the same as something like an electromagnetic pulse weapon.
Yeah.
And it would fry all our electricity grid over a specific area. It could be a very wide area, maybe the whole of the northern hemisphere, or maybe just one country. It depends really on the intensity of it. But if it happens, it would send us straight back to a pre-industrial era.
But you're both going to be all right because you're both smart enough to prep.
I like to think so.
In this very similar way, but still very slightly different.
Yeah.
So I think what we should do, obviously we can't shake hands at the moment, but if you would like to grab this side of the bucket, and if you'd like to grab that side of the bucket, and if you'd like to shake bucket. There you go, guys.
That's the weirdest thing I've done all day.
Yeah.
No worries. Thank you very much, guys. Much appreciated for your opinions. It's been great to have you on. We'll see you soon for the next one. Give us a wave goodbye, guys. See you later.